Hi, in this video I'm going to share with you my Lightroom workflow. I'm going to show you how I manage my images from import all the way through to publishing and printing. So I've been using Lightroom since version 3 and over the years I've developed my workflow. So in this video I'm going to share with you what that workflow is in a bit of detail. So I'll cover everything from importing your images, how I use flags to select which images I'm going to post-process, how I then use star ratings and keywords, how I use collections, how I use smart collections, and then how I eventually get the images ready for export and printing. And just for reference, in this video I'll be using Lightroom version 7.4, which was the latest version at the time of making this video. So let me also tell you what's not going to be in this video. So first of all, this isn't a full Lightroom tutorial. I'm not going to teach you how to use Lightroom. There'll be a certain expectation about some of the concepts that I talk about in Lightroom that you already have knowledge of how these work. I'm also not going to show you how I do post-processing. I've actually already created a post-processing video. I'll include a link for that up in one of the corners of the screen. And I'm also not going to cover printing. I've already created a couple of printing videos actually, and what I'll do is I'll include links for all those videos in the video description below, and there'll be links for it all in my blog, and there'll be a link to my blog at the end screen of this video. So just one last thing before we get started. There are lots of different ways to use the digital asset management capabilities within Lightroom. There's more than one way to achieve the same result. So my way is neither necessarily the right way nor the wrong way. It's just the way I do it. But hopefully by watching this video, you'll pick something up new, something you can implement in your workflow. Okay, so just before we get into the import process, I just want to cover off some of my catalog settings very quickly. So if I go into catalog settings and I go in the general tab here, you can see that my catalog is stored on my W drive. Remember, W drive is an SSD drive. So storing the catalog should hopefully give me the best performance I can. It's going to be slightly better than it is on spinning disk. The operating system and the program files for Lightroom are actually on my C drive. That's a different SSD. So naturally I'm working on a PC, so I've got multiple drives. And also if I go into preferences and I have a look at my camera raw cache settings, I've also got that stored on my SSD, my W drive, and I've got it set to be quite big at 50 gig. So hopefully this should maximize the performance of the available disks that I've got on my system. So just before I jump into the import dialog box, I like to organize all my imports into collections. Now I do this here before I jump into the import dialog box because I find the interface on the import dialog box to create collections a little bit fiddly. So I've got all my shoots organized into these collection sets here, initially organized by year and then by individual shoots. So I'm going to create a new collection for this import. So I'm going to do create collection in the 2018 collection set, and I'm going to give it a date 2018-0715. Now by putting the date in first, it allows Lightroom to sort all the collections by date. And then I'm going to give it a name. This is going to be day mark. So a couple of points here. If it's a multi-day shoot, what I normally do is if I'm importing all the pictures from all the days, I'll just put the date as the first date of the shoot. And if it's a multi-location shoot as well, I'll maybe give it a more general name like North of Scotland or the Lake District or Dartmoor or something like that, rather than a specific place name. It all depends on what sort of groupings that I'm doing the actual imports in. But this allows me to easily identify when the shoot took place and where it was. So I'm just going to click on create. And that, if I scroll down here, has given me my target collection. This is where I'll import the pictures to. So we're going to jump into the import dialog box now. So click on import. Now I've got a set of pictures here on my memory card. This is actually a collection of pictures that I've already imported into my Lightroom catalog, but I've copied them back onto the memory card so I can show you the import process. So up the top here, it's by default, it's always going to be copied from memory card. I don't copy as DNG, I like to keep things in their native raw format. Normally I would make a second copy to an external USB memory stick. If you want to know how that works and why I do it, have a look at my backup video that I've just published. I'll include a link for that in the corner of the screen. But as this is a secondary import of pictures I've already got, I'm not going to select that box at the moment, but I'm going to tick add to collection. Now I could create the collection here by clicking that button, but like I say, I find that a little bit fiddly in there, so I always create my collections up front. So I'm going to shoots 2018 and I go right down to the bottom and there's my collection. Scrolling further down, I'm going to rename all the files as I import them. So I've got a custom template already set up. First thing it does is it puts a date that the picture was taken, and then the custom text, which in this instance is going to be daymark, and then it puts in an index number at the end of the file name. So what this gives me is it gives me the date the image was taken, the shoot name, and then an index number. And this means that those file names are all unique as they get imported into the catalog. Every single file name will be unique. Further down, I'm going to tell it where I'm going to put those files in the import, which computer drive they're going to put them on. Now I've got multiple drives. For this demonstration, I'm just going to import them straight onto my SSD. I'm going to create a folder. It's already typed in there, which is basically the same name as the collection. So again, just a date and the name of the shoot. And again, this allows, when you look at the files in Windows Explorer, for them to be all sorted by date quite easily. Now this is an advantage of actually also using a collection. So if I decide eventually I want to move these files off my SSD, maybe onto my D drive, which is a set of spinning disks, a little bit slower, if I drag and drop those in Lightroom, Lightroom still knows where the pictures are, but I don't have to look in a different drive. I always know that it's going to be in a collection, and these collections contain pictures from any one of my drives, but the logical structure stays the same. So that's a good reason for using collections as well as folders. But I typically work only in collections. I don't really care where the pictures are stored after a while. So anyway, I'm going to select all the pictures there, and we're going to click on import. So now that we've got the pictures in the collection here, I'm ready to start doing some coloring. So this is really the process of selecting which images I want to post-process. So there are lots of different ways you can do this. My principal way of doing it is using the pick flag. So I will scan through my pictures. I'll either look at them like this, or maybe increase the thumbnail size. Maybe I'll even have a look at them in a bit more closer detail. Maybe do a quick zoom in, see whether things are sharp or not. If I like an image and I think I'm going to want to post-process it, I just click the P button on my keyboard, and that gives me the pick flag. I'll go through that and I'll maybe say, well, that one actually looks quite good. It's quite a similar picture, and I'll probably do that one as well. It's rare that I use the reject flag. This is only if I've got an image that's maybe it's just unusable. But it's rare that I use that. I just tend to pick stuff using the pick flag. If, for example, here where you've got three images that are very similar, I might say to myself, actually, this one's almost certainly going to be the better one. So sometimes I will use color coding just to help me filter out the picked one. So green means this is an image I'm definitely going to edit, but these might be my backup ones. So what you sometimes find is your initial look was wrong and you post-process an image and it just doesn't come out right, or it wasn't actually sharp. I want to be able to see which other ones I liked as well. But generally speaking, it's just a pick flag I use. And what you can do actually, so what I do is once I've picked all the images I can filter that out by clicking an attribute here, and I can say show me only the flagged images. So then I've got a subset of my collection here of all the images that I know I want to process. And if I had lots and lots here, I can maybe even filter that a bit further and look at the ones that I definitely want to edit, which are the green ones. Turn that back off again. One other way I use color coding sometimes is if I'm maybe using a focus stack or perhaps a panorama and I've got a sequence of images. So you may notice here, I've got pictures of my hand, and you may be wondering what on earth I'm doing. The picture of the hand indicates to me, and it's a nice visual indicator in Lightroom, that there's a start. The next pictures are part of a sequence. So I think this is me actually doing some focus stacking. So what I would naturally do here is I would select all the images that I was going to, in the focus stack, I'd maybe give them a different color code. So for example, I might give these ones blue. And then what I can actually do is I can go into stacking and I can group that into a stack. And that reduces the overall number of pictures that appear in the grid view here, and it can help tidy up things. Because if you've been taking lots of images of panoramas or focus stacking, this grid view could have quite a lot of images. So it's a nice way to consolidate things. But really, that's all I do. So once I've gone through and I've picked my flags, any obvious ones that I definitely I think are going to be keepers, I'll maybe initially flag with green. I don't use star ratings at this point. Star ratings I save for the point in which I've actually finished the image and I'm going to rate the image on its final output. So once I've got my selects, the images that I want to post-process, I will probably filter the view, depends on the number of images in the view. So here you can see I've got 3 that I'm potentially going to edit. I will edit the green ones first. So if you want to know how I post-process my images, I've already done a video on post-processing. I'll include a link for that in the corner of the screen. So we'll just assume I've post-processed the images and we'll move on to the next stage. So now that we've got the images post-processed, the next stage for me is about keyword and star rating. Let's have a look at this image here. So I've done a very quick edit of this. So first thing I do is I give it a star rating. So I wouldn't publish anything less than 3 stars. In fact, I generally don't give anything less than 3 stars anyway, because normally that means it's been a reject anyway. So it's either going to be 3, 4, or 5 stars. 5 being the absolute best, 3 being it's a good image, and I'd probably publish it on somewhere like Flickr. So I'm going to give this image 3 stars. So I'm just going to press number 3. The next stage for me after that is to go into the keywords. Now this is why I don't keyword at the beginning, because there's so many images that end up in the bin. Not that I delete any images, but so many images don't get processed. I only bother keywording them at the end. So I've built up a kind of hierarchy of keywords over the years. And this makes it relatively easy for me to go through and keyword stuff. So generally speaking, I've got equipment, so I'll maybe tick this one because it was ticked on the D850. If I've been using filters, I might tick on filters. And, I've also got a location section, so I can go through and I can say, well, this was taken in England, the southwest, it was it's near the southwest coast path, Devon, etc., etc. And I've got all these built up into little stacks here. So I think I've got Daymark here, yeah, Daymark Tower. And the good thing about doing this is you can see all the number of times that I've actually selected this keyword. If I wanted to go back, I could create a dynamic collection to say, show me all pictures with Daymark Tower in it. So it makes it nice and easy for me to find images across multiple drives, across multiple collections. So it takes a little bit of time to build up this hierarchy, but actually once it's done and you're happy with it, going through and actually just ticking lots of boxes that match your picture actually becomes relatively straightforward. So it's worth a little bit of investment. And then we've got the scene one. So this is all about what's in the picture. So I might say, well, this actually has got farming in it, it's got agriculture, it's got crops in it, for example. What else can we pick? Time of day, it's at sunset, wilderness, it's out in the field, etc., etc. So you can go through and pick all these keywords, and once you've got them in the hierarchy, it's really easy to just go through and select them. Some things that are worth pointing out is that you can have, what's a good one to do would probably be equipment. If I have a look at filters, for example, and I went into ND and I go to edit that, you can actually see you've got the synonyms here. Now what this means is that these are alternative words. So ND is actually neutral density. And if I tick this box, it says export them. When I export the image, it will not only include the keyword ND, but it also include the keyword neutral density as well. So this saves me having to have separate keywords here in the right-hand pane for ND and for neutral density, and that I have to tick them. I can have one keyword, but it will export both versions. So I'll go through that, do all my tags. There's some genre-specific stuff here. So this is a landscape picture. It's seasonal. I think it's a spring shot, I think. And that allows me to, like I say, categorize the images, search for them. It just makes the whole process easier. And obviously when I export them with all the tags. So they get imported up to Flickr. All the tags are there. All the keywords are there already for me. So like I say, spend a bit of time setting up my hierarchy, but it makes adding the keywords really easy. The next thing I do is I go into map. I like to know where my pictures are taken. I didn't have my phone connected in this instance, so the GPS data isn't automatically put there. What I tend to do is go into the map. Oh, that's fine enough, it's already at Daymark. I just drag the image, and it was probably about there, I think, and I just drop it there, and it makes a rough estimation of where those GPS is. It's good enough for where I want to know it's going to be. But like I say, normally I have my phone connected, and the GPS data will be automatically added by the D850. And then one of the final things I do is I like to give the picture a title. So if I go into title here, I can call it Sunset at Daymark. Fine. And then what I also do is I will also rename the source file. So if I hit F2, I can put in a custom name, and that renames the source file as well. So that means if I'm actually having a look in Windows Explorer, I can actually and I just see a big list of NEF files, I can quite easily pick out which ones I've actually done full edits on, because they're all paired with a slightly different file name. So that's really all the kind of metadata side of stuff that I put into it: the keywords, the GPS data, the rating, and the title of the picture. So now that I've got all the metadata information in my picture, it's ready for export. Now, export could be many different things. I could be printing the image. Now, if you want to know how I do my printing, I'll include a link to one of my printing videos in the corner of the screen. Otherwise, I normally export to hard drives. So I've got a number of preset published services here. So I've got one for my blog, one for my vlog, different image sizes and qualities set there. I've got one here for Flickr and one for Instagram. Now, if I'm exporting straight to Flickr, these go straight into those services. I'll normally include a caption as well, because they carry forward, and if it's Instagram, I'll put all my hashtags in there as well. And it's really just a matter of dragging and dropping those and then publishing. So let me very quickly talk about Lightroom Mobile. I don't use Lightroom Mobile for any image editing. What I do use it for is to carry around a kind of portable copy of my portfolio of images. Now, the way I do this is inside Lightroom here, I've actually got this smart collection here, which shows me all my rated images. I've got 3-star here, 4-star there, 5-star there. And that pulls all the images from all the different folders and collections and puts them in a single view for me. Unfortunately, there's a limitation that you cannot, I don't know why, but you cannot sync a smart collection to Lightroom Mobile. It doesn't support it, only supports standard collections. So what I have to do is I've actually got a set of standard collections here. You can see one I've got called Landscape or 3-star here. So what I do is I just copy it from my smart collection. So I just select all the pictures. I scroll down to my Lightroom synced collection here, and I just drag and drop. So it's 277 now. There's actually one extra there, 278. So it's a bit of a manual process to get those pictures onto Lightroom Mobile, because it doesn't support smart collections. But it is quite handy having all your pictures on your mobile device. It's just one extra step I have to do every time I create a new image. I have to kind of copy it manually over to that collection. So one last thing I just want to show you is how I've put all that metadata to use within Lightroom itself to help me find and categorize images. When they get imported, they all get put into a collection, but that doesn't kind of give me a more kind of global view. So what I've got here is, as I just mentioned earlier, I've got the star ratings here. So if I go into edit that smart collection, you can see the rules that I've got here. So show me all images that are over 4 stars that are flagged and that are landscape images. Because you can see I actually store multiple genres of photography inside this particular catalogue. I've got a category here for pictures from aviation, and also I've got pictures from my music photography. But I use things like, even like the location data. So say I want to show me all my Dartmoor 4-star pictures. It will load up those. I can, while it's loading that up, edit the smart collections. You can see show me landscape, flagged 4 stars, and I have a keyword Dartmoor. So if I'm looking for a Dartmoor image, perhaps maybe for a competition, it makes it nice and easy for me to be able to pick out those images. And I've got the same for generally Devon County there, Scotland. Maybe I'm looking for a different particular type of processing. So I've got one here for black and white landscapes. So again, if I go into edit smart collection, flagged landscape 3 stars and above, and black and white. So it's really useful for being able to view your images and search for images, particularly if you're looking for something for a specific reason. It's really valuable to take the time and effort to keyword and star rate your images, because it just makes the benefits of keeping them in Lightroom and a digital asset management tool like Lightroom, you'll gain a lot more benefits from that. So that's it. I do hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said at the start of the video, my way is neither necessarily the right way nor the wrong way. It's just the way I happen to do it. And if you did get something from this video, hopefully you can implement it into your workflow. Now, if you did like this video, please do consider hitting that like button. And of course, leave me a comment. I do try and read and reply to everyone's comment. And if you did like this video and you want to see more content from myself, please do also consider hitting that subscribe button. And if you do, remember to click on the little bell icon beside. That way you'll receive a notification as soon as I post up a new video. But until the next one, I'll see you then.